Last time on Eden Zero, Rebecca has lost to the clown. Wise has lost to the killer. Shiki strapped down to a table, and though he has managed to finally free himself for the most part, he's still lost in another place, as Homura stands off against Brigadine. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew of Edens alongside Holy is going up against the massive mechanized monstrosity called Dead End Crow. And while Lavalley wants to go in and help Rebecca any way she can, she's happened upon a couple of stowaways, none other than the clown and the killer, saying that they're on to their true mission. What'll happen next? Let's find out, shall we? Eden Zero and hot damn. Sister, are you trying to seduce me? Mashima and his love of ass. Bless this man. Bless this booty. Sister, please take me to confessional. I've been naughty. Alright, I'm gonna stop. There's chapter 194, The Ether of All Things. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still looking at the ass. But Ether of All Things, that sounds important. Okay. Alright, and so Lavalia comes face to face with the two dark shining stars, as Killer simply tells her. Lavalia looks on in horror and tries her best to say somebody, but she's immediately silenced by Killer, saying, "No need for screaming. You're going to end up dead either way." Clown interrupts and says, "Oh, stop it, little Kill. You put far too little thought into aesthetics when it comes to death." Killer questions, "What?" Clown continues, "Death is a sublime event. A human's death is the finale of that person's story. Let's make her death beautiful." Lavalier is, of course, terrified at this. But Killer says, "Yeah, don't care." Oh, snap! Muskoy comes in and sumo slaps Killer away from Labelia. Labelia is, of course, happy to see Moscow. Killer is shocked, and Clown says, "Ah, yes, you're with the four shining stars. Your sister's valet." And Moscow says, "I'm her minion." Clown responds, "Oh dear, after I chose a classy term for you." And Moscow responds in anger, "I'm her minion!" He then shouts, "Miss Labelia, it was a massive mistake to leave the safe room." Labelia says in a somber response, "I'm sorry." Couchfu comes out and says, "Labby, over here." Labelia says, "Couchfu, I trying to apologize for causing a bit of a stir." Couchfu says, "It doesn't matter. We need to get away." Couchfu and Moscow give each other a slight glance. Moscow nods to her, and then he turns to the two dark stars and says, "What are you lightweights doing on our ship?" "Damn, Moscow!" Clown responds, "Eliminating Sister and Hermit." Killer adds, "That's what we were made to do." Moscow responds to this and says, "Deal with me instead. They are busy with a more weighty mission." He then reaches out for the button on his stomach, and a voice cries out, "Don't push that button, you filthy pig!" And Moscow oinks. Okay, I'm guessing it has to be Sister. One of these days we're gonna find out what the button is. Oh, there they are. In comes Sister and Hermit. Sister says, "I heard you wanted to see us, you little brats." Hermit says, "Boarding without authorization. You won't get away with that." Moscow shouts, "Miss Sister, Miss Hermit, are you alright? How are things on the front lines?" Sister responds, "Jin and the others are handling it." Hermit adds, "And they have Holy to help." Clown is delighted. Well, this saves us the trouble of finding you." And as Killer gives a sinister smile, Sister and Hermit start to transform. As Sister says, "Alright, it's been a while since I've gotten to bust some heads." As Hermit states, "Battle dress, requip, da-dun! We will now eradicate all enemies on board." Sister states, "I sentence you to remodeling. I'll turn you both into crappers." Nice. And thus they stand, in their full battle regalia. Clown responds to that statement by saying, "Vulgar woman." And as Killer lowers his hood, he says, use your aesthetics to pretty her up in death. In response to what Clown said previously. Oh no, we got away from the battle. Of course. We then cut to Lendard airspace as Elsie Crimson's fleet continues to clash with the battalion of dragons. Going on in Elsie's fleet state, what the hell is going on? What is Justice's ship doing here? And he shouts over to Holy's team, did you betray us? The short member of the team, Shiro, says, it wasn't me. Hyoga from Elsie's crew states, I assume you've let them know we're allies. Ibuki from Holy's side says, we've done everything we can. We really did have no idea. We didn't know the Union Army would go this far. Oh shit, it's pretty much all of them. You see on board Justice's ship, the Angel Feather. Victory states, attention all ships. As of now, Elsie's fleet plus the Eden Zero have joined forces with Holy. Justice's orders are to treat them as friendly ships. Okay then. Oh, thank God. At the bare minimum, they're doing the right thing. It's just, once this is all said and done, they're probably going to try to take in the Eden Zero as well as Elsie's crew. Like, that's so obvious. They've chosen the smart decision with siding with them in order to make sure to take down Ziggy. I feel like this is coming in response to the terror that Ziggy has wreaked all across this galaxy. It's one of the downsides of having that time skip. We never really got to see a lot of the devastation that Ziggy caused. We saw it in plenty of places previously. But it's just like, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen reports that Ziggy had done this, that, and the other. At least a little bit more than what we had previously seen. Alright, we see aboard Eraser's ship, the Hot Eye. Eraser responds, roger that. Aboard Feather's ship, Racer. Feather responds, but he knows if we don't shoot, we'll be shot at. And aboard Kira's ship, the Brain Dust, they state, first we'll take care of these dragons Agnoella has unleashed. Did we know previously that all of the Eurasian Says Interstellar ships were named after the previous Eurasian Says Interstellar? Not Eurasian Says Interstellar. Eurasian Says from Fairy Tale. Like, Holy ship is called the Midnight. Justice's ship is Angel. Eraser ship, Hot Eye. Feather ship, Racer. Chair ship, Brain. I guess that means Jaguar ship was called Cobra. Have we seen a ship in this series called Cobra? Like, either Jaguar ship was called the Cobra or something like that, or a new member of the Eurasian Says Interstellar is going to come into the picture and will be clued in by their ship being called Cobra. Something like that. Like, that seems to be what Mashima is doing. I don't know, unless one of the Eurasian Says Interstellar ships gets utterly annihilated. We'll have to see. But yeah, massive space battle. Lots of casualties. This is gonna look wicked in the anime. And Mashima really put in a lot of detail with the destruction. Like, Jesus. He really did want to tell a space epic. Oh, we then cut back to Justice and Elsie. Elsie's still tied down in a very, there's no way not to make the way she looks sexual. I'm just gonna be honest. Elsie asks Justice, how long are you going to make me sit here like this? Justice responds, normally I would have restrained your legs and neck as well. Be glad I only tied your hands behind your back. Elsie claps back by saying, no, I'm referring to how I'm dressed. Do prisoners not have the right to wear clothing? Justice kind of realizes the very compromised nature of Elsie's clothes and immediately blushes. Elsie then teases, what are you blushing for, James? Are you only just now realizing that an innocent maiden is sitting before you half naked? Justice shouts in embarrassment, innocent maidens don't become pirate. Oh, Justice and Elsie seem to sense something. Justice shouts, something's coming. Elsie responds, this is not good. Justice runs off shouting, stay here. As Elsie cries out to him, hey, remove these restraints. As she tries her best to get free, but to no avail. She shouts, that idiot, this isn't funny. If he keeps me tied up, I won't last 10 seconds. Okay, that means they were found, and I think I know by who. We then see Justice slowly peeking around the corner. He looks up to the sky and sees dragons, and on top of one is the mother of dragons, God, Aknoela. Justice is obviously distressed by this realization. Oop. Meanwhile, we cut back to Shiki in the dilapidated virtual hospital as he runs through the corridors. Shiki questions himself. So this is a virtual dimension that he created. He then activates his communicator and says, "Hello, can anyone hear me? Please respond." He hears nothing for a second, only for Pino to come across the line. Shiki questions, "Where are you?" Pino responds, "I'm in a cage with Mr. Happy." Shiki asks her, "Do you know where?" Pino says, "Analyzing. I've located Miss Rebecca and Mr. Wise in this dimension. Uploading coordinate." And once Shiki receives the data, he says, "Pino and Happy are closest. I'm on my way." Oh, okay. Suddenly, something starts to happen to Shiki. As he says, "It's happening again. Memories are falling into my mind. The plot is becoming relevant once again." As he sees an image of a very human-looking killer who says, "Ether, a power that flows through all things. When it reaches its critical point, we call that overdrive." So, for example, if the ether of this rock reaches its critical point, do you think it could overdrive? And we see the full picture. Killer and Hermit, dressed like school children, sitting by what seems to be a riverbed. As Hermit says to Killer, "You always have the strangest perspectives." Shiki is shocked to see Hermit in this vision. As Hermit continues, "Still, theoretically, it may be possible. It would be true for everything. Mountains, the ocean, this whole planet. If something's ether reaches its critical point, I think it can overdrive." That's interesting. Is that going to come into play at some point? The fact that even inanimate objects have the ability to overdrive? Or are they simply talking in regards to even an android could be able to overdrive? But then we still have the question, are the dark stars and the shining stars, are they really just androids? Or were they something more? Or is this simply another dimension entirely that Shiki is getting visions of? And if so, why? To what extent? We then cut back to the showdown of Clown and Killer versus Hermit and Sister, as Killer accesses several windows and says, "Running subdimension program." Sister sees what's going on and says, "He's trying to," and Hermit immediately counters saying, "No you don't. Scene manager disabling code." Much to Killer's shock, completely shutting down Killer's program to separate them into alternate dimensions. Like, you came to play with the wrong hacker girl, dude. Hermit states, "Amateur. Do you think you can beat me without even changing into battle dress?" Killer smiles and says, as he charges, "Do you think you can beat me with a little wardrobe change? I'm designed to access the superior power of overdrive." As he types away at his keyboard, you see his visage begin to change as he activates his altered state, going lunging at Hermit. Oh, yeah, it was a plot point. Okay, as you see, damn, Hermit looking, well, damn. Very older and very voluptuous, just filled out in all the right, yeah. Much to Killer's shock as she says, "So was I," activating her own overdrive. I should have known. It was obvious that at some point we were going to get the ba-bam moment with Hermit. And ultimately, it was pretty obvious where Mashima was going with having both Rebecca and Wise lose to Killer and Clown. That gave them an opportunity to fight their actual counterparts, especially since Homura was essentially fighting her somewhat counterpart in Brigadine. It still just gets me that Wizard went down so quickly. But who knows? After seeing Killer and Clown dominate so much in their previous battles, maybe this is a good time to really just have Sister and Hermit show up, show off, and show out. Because Hermit is definitely right now showing out and busting out, like, damn. But the question remains, is it really that much of a difference? How much of a difference is it to have, is a battle dress in comparison to overdrive? Like, I know that's accessing the magical limitations, the magical peak. You're overclocked, you're at the height. But was the battle dress not sufficient enough? wouldn't it stand to reason that others of the Dark Stars and the Shining Stars should learn Overdrive? Or was it something that only Hermit could figure out? Well, Hermit and Killer. And why not share that with the rest of them? Or have they tried? It really does raise a lot of questions. I am also curious as to how the showdown between Clown and Sister is going to go down as well. And I'm guessing eventually we're going to see Homura go up against Brigadine, with Homura using Overdrive and Brigadine using his battle dress. I'm actually kind of surprised that we're not immediately going to that fight. It's funny, Homura's fight has lasted the longest. It's the biggest war of attrition during all of these fights. I wonder where will Shiki, Pino, Happy go after they've rescued Wise and Rebecca? And has Agnuella actually found Justice and Elsie? Or is he still looking? Is she toying with them? Does she know where they are? Because being so high up, you can only see so much. Just flying around, it's just like I don't think Justice and Elsie are stupid enough to really get found out too much. And the question also remains, is Elsie going to be able to get out of those restraints and escape? Will Justice ultimately realize that he's no match for Agnuella alone and free Elsie? Or will he have to be forced to work together with her? I mean, it could go either way. It feels like it would be more development on his side to acknowledge that he needs Elsie's help. And I would like that. That'd be a little bit more of a positive, but I feel like it would be more in character for him to need to be forced to have her help. And this battle is really showing out, though, too, because essentially all the remaining members of the Oreshian Says Interstellar now on or around Lendard, and almost all the members of the Oreshian Says Galactica on Lendard as well. I mean, at this point, it's just like, okay, is Saint Fire Nox just gonna show up? Like, let's be real. You have pretty much all the players here. The statement for Saint Fire Nox's power reads that he had the power to crush an entire planet. So it's just like, I mean, come on. You have Elsie, you have Shiki, you have Dead and Crow, you have Agnuella. It's interesting that both the Interstellar and the Galactica are missing like a member. The Interstellar only goes up to 5 now because they lost Jaguar, and the Galactica only goes up to 5 now because of the death of Poseidon Nero and the imprisonment of Dak and Joe, and Jaguar defected. I'm just like, okay, what happens next? Because you can't just up and have a new member of the Oreshian Says Interstellar unless they had a new member join that we're not aware of during the time skip. That's entirely a possibility. And it would be something else if, I would think at this point, Ziggy would have been named also a member of the Oreshian Says Galactica. I mean, he feels just as much of a problem as Dak and Joe or Poseidon Nero. And especially if the Union Army considers Shiki and Elsie high threat simply because of their power. Like, come on. How is Ziggy not a member of the Galactica? Well, registered under the Galactica. I don't know, it really does leave me wondering, where does this whole thing about the Galactica and the Interstellar, like, where does that circle get squared into the whole? Or is Mashima kind of keeping in a more ironic state that it's just like they're both named the 6 with only 5 members each? Like, that's the joke. And there's still the question of, what is that button on Moscow? At what point is he supposed to press it? I know, it's just, that's the whole point. You're supposed to question, when is he gonna press it? When will that eventually happen? But it's just like, it's gotta be there specifically for him to press. Like, is it in case of an emergency? Or is it just gonna be a gag? That's the question here. And I really thought Lobelia was going to do something, but I guess not? It was cool to see Moscow kind of get a little stuck into the action, just a little bit. And I couldn't see Lobelia just dying right then and there. It's just like, no. Not after all the promises that were made to her about saving her life from the illness. It's just like, yeah, she's not gonna die. And okay, that's about it. That picture of sister. Damn. But that's the chapter. Tell me your thoughts in the comments section below. Who do you think will come out on top in the end? My money's still on Hermit and Sister, but then again, I thought Rebecca and Wise were gonna win their battles, and I was proven wrong. So Mashima just loves throwing those curveballs with this series, so you never know. But I'm interested to hear from you. Also, subscribe. That way you don't miss out on the next reaction. Or don't. I ain't your daddy, but I still love you like one. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye!